Hi all and welcome back to my channel where I cover all things tech. My name is Davis and today we are here to talk about something that I thought that we would never ever cover on this channel. Yep, because we are talking about a ring. We are now officially the jewelry channel. But this is not any ring because it is the Ultrahuman Ring Air, the lightest smart ring in the world. To be fair, this is not something that I really would have cared about because smart rings, I've always thought were a bit of a segment too far. We've got smartphones, we've got smart refrigerators, smart watches, and now we've got smart rings. What next? Smart anklets. Nonetheless, Ultrahuman were kind enough to give me a sample of their Ring Air to review, and I've been using it over the past month. Yep, I've taken my good time to get this review out. And to be fair, during the first week of my test, it was a little bit rough. I was really struggling to work out who this product was made for because this is a product that's got some of the features of a smart watch, but it doesn't have a display, so you're still using your phone to see all of the information. And it's got some of the health features of a Fitbit or a Whoop band, but it's got none of the accuracy during workouts at least. And then it struck me, this is the perfect product for someone who doesn't want a smartwatch. So if you're someone who really wants the features of a smartwatch, but you're in love with your mechanical watch, your Patek, your Rolex, your Breitling, whatever, and you still want to keep track of your health, but don't want to look like a dork, then this is the perfect product for you. There we go, we've cracked it. Review over. Anyway, if you like these videos and would like to see more, make sure to support us by liking the video, subscribing if you haven't done so yet, and if you've got any questions about the Ultrahuman Ring Air, then feel free to type it in the comments and I will get to you as soon as possible. Ultrahuman also did supply me with a product and also a discount code, which is Davis10. You can save 10% using my code through the link in the description. Firstly, I think that we need to get this out of the way. This is a new hardware category for me at least, so why would someone like me wear a ring? If you're creating a piece of hardware to track your health, it's probably best to create something that's not only socially acceptable, so we can avoid a situation like Google Glass where everyone was too freaked out to wear it, but also a category that's familiar. A watch, for instance, is a very natural option as there's a lot of space to put technology inside a watch, and most people, I think at least, are pretty used to wearing a watch. But beyond the watch, what could you have? A bracelet like a Whoop, a headband, earrings, anklet? I think a ring is the next obvious solution. But the thing is, can you convince a non-ring wearer to wear a ring? Because while I've worn many watches before, a ring is a completely different question. I'm used to wearing watches because I've always worn one, and for me, they are pretty comfortable because I am used to them. And because I'm used to them, there's a whole set of learned behavior that I'm used to. Like, don't bang your watch everywhere and you'll destroy it. You automatically steer well clear of brick walls. You automatically turn your wrists when you sense danger so that you don't scratch your watch everywhere. I'm constantly aware of things like that. And with a ring, you've got to learn a completely new set of behaviors. For example, I'm constantly readjusting my grip so I don't scratch things like my laptop or the steering wheel on my car because it's a lovely wood one, but I'm fine with scratching this wood table because it's a bit nasty. At the gym, you have to wear something over it so that the ring itself doesn't get scratched from barbells and dumbbells and stuff like that. You are constantly aware of the ring as well on your finger. You know, the feeling of a sweaty finger is just not something I'm accustomed to, but you do gradually learn over the first few weeks. So if you are interested in getting a ring a little bit like this, like a watch, you have to find the right size. And if you want to do that quickly, obviously you could go to your local jeweler who'll tell you your ring size, or you can utilize the Ultrahuman Ring Air sizing app. You take a photo of your hand beside a credit card sized card and it will determine what size you are. And it actually came out with my correct size, which I was very surprised about, a size 8 if you are thinking of buying me a ring. I think it works fantastically. However, if you don't trust that, you can also request the sizing kit. And in the sizing kit, there are many sizes. It goes all the way from a 14 down to a 5. I mean, a size 14, are we for real? Who is a size 14? This is like a toe ring. Am I being sizist here? I might be. On the other hand, a size 5 is absolutely tiny. Can I fit a size 5 on my pinky? Let's see. And speaking of sizing, oh, that's a bit tight. I did struggle to fit the size 8 on my finger because there are no in-between sizes. And although you are supposed to put the ring on your index finger, it is a little bit tight for me. So I do prefer to put it on my ring finger. And that feels a lot better. And also remember that you can't resize a smart ring, unfortunately, unlike a normal ring. And also they don't offer in-between sizes. So if you are at 8.5 like me, probably size down, I would say, depending on how tight it is. But I did eventually get used to it. So now that I'm trying to take this off, let's talk about the design. So it is very minimal. There is basically no detail at all on this ring, and because of that it can be quite hard to determine which way the ring should be facing. Because if you look on the inside, there is a section which is a little bit, it's sort of like a flat tire situation, a bit like on the original Motorola 360 watch, and this is where all the sensors are. So you want this bit, this fat bit, on the fleshiest bit, the underside of your finger. To make it a bit easier though, sometimes there is a green light that you can see, so you can align it a little bit more easily. That's obviously to measure your heart rate, but you do eventually learn to do that. And also if we just take a look at the design, we can see that while it is quite slim, it is larger than a normal ring, and it can get a little bit sweaty as it does fit a little bit more tightly than a normal ring would because of that flat tire area and the fact that it is a little bit wider despite it being the lightest smart ring you can get. Anyway, so let's quickly talk about some of the specifications. It is 2.4 grams, so it's very light. But which size is a 2.4 gram one? Because obviously I don't think a size 14 is going to be the same weight as a size 5. I'm guessing they're referring to the size 5. I have not confirmed it with Ultrahuman. They claim that it's also 11 times lighter than a typical smartwatch. Weird comparison. You could say it's 1,000 times lighter than a couch or something. But yeah. Anyway, the interior of the ring is quite cool because it's all exposed. It's a little bit like a skeleton watch. You can see how it all works. You can see all the sensors and stuff. It says Ultrahuman in the size. I have no idea how they managed to fit all the sensors and the battery in here, but somehow they did. It's also good to note that the interior is hypoallergenic, which means that you won't get any weird rashes like you would with a aluminium/nickel based alloy that some people get. Some people are sensitive to nickel. The ring itself is made of fighter grade jet titanium. No idea if that's good or not, but it's fighter jet grade. However, it does mean that it's quite light and strong, and it will match your brand new iPhone titanium if you've got one of them. It is quite easy to scratch titanium, so it's good to hear that it's reinforced with tungsten carbide carbon for the coating. And while that usually means that you can't resize the ring, because it's a smart ring, you can't resize it anyway, so that's not a problem. And I still managed to scratch it, obviously. There's also 100 meters of water resistance, which is good. And also, it's available in 4 colors. There's Aster Black, which is like a gloss black, I think. There's a matte gray, bionic gold, and space silver. From early reviews, I would recommend that you avoid the matte gray, as apparently that scratches quite easily. but I don't know how that scratches in comparison to this because I haven't tried that one out. So let's take a quick tour of the hardware. So it's got Bluetooth to send signals to the phone, obviously. It's got a PPG sensor, which means that it can measure your heart rate variability, your blood oxygen saturation. It's got a 6-axis motion sensor, a bit like a 6-axis PlayStation 3 controller, I guess, maybe. And it's also got a non-contact temperature sensor, so it can measure surface skin temperature, which is quite useful. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. And obviously, because there's no screen, there's no user interface to speak of on the Ring itself, so everything is controlled through our new favorite thing, and it is the app. I've got all of the widgets that you could possibly get over here. They're a little bit ugly, but the option is there. So we can press any one of these to go directly into the app. And while it might look a little bit confusing at first, I would probably just recommend just ignoring it for the first few days while you're using it, so it can gather some data and then you can start using it properly, and then you sort of understand. Apparently it might take at least a week to get all the data it needs to give you some proper information, so you do have to be a little bit patient with that. And the app is quite dynamic, so it will highlight different features as you go throughout your day. For example, it's currently highlighting the circadian phase alignment feature that we'll talk about later. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but essentially on this first page at least, you can see all of the information that's relevant to today. And then you can swipe along the top to see yesterday's figures, and the day before, and the day before that, and so it goes on. In addition to that, you've also got tabs on the bottom. For the second one, for instance, it is dedicated to the M1 biosensor, which I don't have, so we shall move on. The third one is dedicated to keeping track of your friends who also have the same ring, which I don't really have, so we shall move on. So next up is the Discover tab, where it aims to give you an education on your health. So you get little features like metabolic education and podcasts and workouts and meditation and music and stuff like that. I do just roll my eyes at most of these, but if you like this sort of stuff, it is here for you. And in the final tab, it tells you all about your profile. And this is also where it tries to sell you the extended warranty Ultrahuman X, which is quite affordable to be fair, but you probably don't need it. Most of these tabs are quite useless, so you can basically ignore all of them and just stick with the first one. And the best things do happen on this first page. For example, let's take a look at the phase response curve, which is the circadian phase alignment thing. Basically, over here, it will give you tips on how to improve your energy level throughout the day. For example, when you first wake up, it'll tell you here through a notification or through the app that it's a great time to get some sunlight to wake yourself up. It will also tell you when to get a coffee. It will tell you when not to have a coffee. It can also tell you when to not look at a bright screen, so you can get to sleep more easily. And it's reflected in a very easy to understand way here. It will also sometimes trigger your dynamic island, and you'll have a countdown until you can have your first coffee, for instance. So I think that's pretty cool. It's pretty basic advice, to be fair, but it's always nice to have a little nudge, to have a little reminder, even if you are just going to ignore it because you're editing this video well into the night. After that, today we've got the movement index. So if we take a look at this, we've got your steps. I've done a lot of steps today. It shows you your activity. For some reason, it's reading 0 active minutes, which is a bit disturbing, but we'll ignore that. We've got active hours, calories, stuff like that, and also your workouts. Now, I've got a little bit of a gripe with the workout section because in order to log a workout, as you can see, you have to do it within this app, and the app isn't very good for workouts. So while the data that goes into this app from the Ring does go into Apple Health, it doesn't flow the other way. So if you do want to log all of your activity, just make sure that you do it inside this app as well as your Fitbit app or whatever else you're using. It's a little bit confusing, but you'll get used to it. In order to log a workout though, what you do need to do is a little bit confusing, I found, is that you have to scroll all the way down to the timeline section over here, and then you press workout, which is in beta, and then you get a pretty decent list of different workouts. It's not got everything. For example, it doesn't have swimming, but you can just go from there. For example, if I'm going to do a strength training session, I can just press start here, and then it gives you a little bit of a countdown. To be fair, there's not that much data. It doesn't give you a program, for instance. And just remember that you do need to log your workout here if you do want it to be counted. So you can't have a workout on your Apple Watch, let's say, and expect it to show up here. You sort of need to record it twice, which is a little bit annoying, but since this is still in beta, hopefully that will be fixed at some point. And I think we should also talk about how weird it felt to be working out with the Ultrahuman Ring at first, because you would definitely notice that it's there. For example, when you put it on, just imagine that you're squeezing something like a barbell or dumbbell or something. It can actually be quite painful to have a little bit of metal between your fingers. And also, as we've said before, you need to find a way to protect it because this would not do well at all against a metal barbell, let's say. So lifting straps or something like that is an absolute must if you want to work out with the ring. And while the heart rate data isn't as accurate as something that's wrist mounted or especially chest based, it is good enough for general use, which is all I care about really. The ring though is better for cardio, and to be fair, that's how I scratched it. I scratched it while swimming. And that's the funny thing with this. This ring encourages you to use it all the time, even when you probably shouldn't wear a ring, and that's why it gets damaged so easily. Sometimes a watch is better for a certain scenario, like when you're working out, but it doesn't exactly encourage that because the information won't show on the app. So that definitely is quite annoying. So now let's move on to the sleep index, and this gives you all of your data about your sleep. To be fair, before I got this, I could not care less about my sleep because I know when I've had a poor night's worth of sleep, you don't really need to tell me, but I've actually found this to be quite interesting. If you go into it, we can see that it tracks your duration, your resting heart rate, your restfulness, the temperature, your oxygen saturation, and it also gives you data about all of your different sleep stages. And while I wasn't interested in this sort of data beforehand, after experiencing it, I actually do quite like it now. While I don't feel that is especially actionable as you sleep when you can sleep, this is quite interesting. Under that, you've also got your recovery score, and this basically tells you how well you are feeling. To be fair, you already know how well you're feeling, but you can tell the app that too. So basically, it gets data from all of the different inputs, and it can tell you if you're feeling poorly. For example, a couple of weeks ago, I was actually quite sick with a fever, and the app did notice and told me to take it easy. And yeah, thanks, but I would have done that anyway. Underneath here, we've also got your cardiovascular fitness. So it's got something called your VO2 max, and it's telling me that I'm not especially fit. So that's good. Thanks for telling me. But at least my resting heart rate is excellent. Unfortunately, it is telling me that with a bit of a push, your active performance can match up. And it probably would if it could see my workouts that it doesn't log. So that's great. You've also got access to things like your macros, as in your food. I didn't use this, but I'm told that it's quite rudimentary. And what's quite interesting though is that every week you use it, it gives you a little bit of a weekly report. So it appears on the top of the app, and it also appears in your inbox. So it's like having a Spotify Wrapped every single week. So let's take a look at it. We can see my average sleep is down, my recovery is up, and my movement is up as well. We can see trends, so that's very exciting. You can see trends for everything. And if this is something that you like, then it's definitely there. And now let's move on to battery life. So they do claim 6 days of battery life, which does sound mighty impressive, especially if you're used to it. Apple Watch, where you're lucky to get 1 day, but I did get something closer to 4 days. I'm guessing if you are logging more workouts, it does use a little bit more battery. What I did find though, it is a little bit annoying to find a time to charge it because it is quite slow to charge. You need a good couple of hours to get maybe 30 or 40%. So it does charge quite slowly. But the thing is, when you aren't wearing the ring, you can't exactly replace it with an Apple Watch, let's say, and have the data from the Apple Watch sync with the Ultrahuman app. So there never feels like that there's a good time to charge it. Maybe a good solution is having 2 of these rings, but at least the charger is quite cool and I do like the design. It's got a little charging light and it's USB-C. And now let's talk about the price. It's $349 in the US, so that is a very sharp price, roughly $550 in Australia. And $349 is actually quite a good price for a titanium normal dumb ring. And it's actually even better if you use my 10% discount. So it is at least priced very well. And obviously you don't have to pay for a subscription to use the app. So in conclusion, who is this ring for? I think it's for a person who wants the smart health tracking features of a Whoop, of an Apple Watch, of a Fitbit, but doesn't exactly want to wear something that is hideous. I can totally see people rocking a Patek watch on a night out and wearing this at the same time, and it would get compliments on how good they look together. This is pretty much the ultimate smart device because it's smart, but nobody knows that it's smart. And after you get used to wearing a ring, I honestly kind of like it now. I was going to give it away initially at the end of my review period, but I am enjoying it so much that I'm thinking I might actually just keep it and continue wearing it and see where the app evolves and see where the future updates takes this. It's pretty fantastic, but only if you know what you are in for. I'm still going to wear my Apple Watch, don't get me wrong, but that's just because I don't really have a nice mechanical watch to wear. Because they are expensive. So if you want an Ultrahuman Air, my link is in the description and be sure to use Davis10 to save 10%. It's not for everyone, but if this review convinced you to get one, just let me know in the comments as well. And on that note, toodaloo.